Growing up, there were always phrases and things that I'd hear that would arise questions I never got answers to. Discussions that people around me and older than me would never have. Things I would wonder about, like, isn't that offensive? Why are they saying that? Why are people laughing, and is this normal? I learned that the less questions you ask, the more accepted you would be. Questioning your surroundings, the so-called norms, isn't exactly normal. From a young age, almost since birth, we're taught to stay silent in the face of social offense, to internalize. Internalization, by definition, means to make attitudes or behavior part of one's nature by learning or unconscious assimilation. The most common forms of internalization happen to be internalized racism, misogyny, and sexism. Essentially, internalization is the things that we say or do that impose negative stereotypes and offensive ideals. The internalized part of this is that we say these things and think this way because we're taught that our behavior is okay. Everybody's doing it, right? It's inescapable, from our movies to our music to our news outlets. People can pay to watch movies like The Interview or Get Hard and laugh at them without having to really think about what they're laughing at. You can use the phrase, "it's just a joke" all day long, but there's no accountability there. We choose not to discuss these things because they might make people uncomfortable, but no one stops to consider how uncomfortable it makes those of us who are the butt of the joke. Those of us who have to laugh along to be accepted. The detrimental part of this is that we start to believe these things. I know girls who can literally tell you that they believe all women are weaker than men. I know girls who really truly believe that women aren't capable of being more intelligent than men. I know people who can listen to their friends tell racist jokes and defend them. I especially know this because I used to be one of those people. You talk white is a common condition that I share with several of my minority friends, as well as you act white. So what exactly is acting white? A lot of people say this to me and expect me to take it as a compliment. White is supposed to be the standard. Talking white is supposed to correlate with talking intelligently. Acting white is supposed to correlate with acting civilized. Acting any other way or color is told as an insult. I wasn't aware that speaking properly made me an entirely different race until I learned the term Oreo. I grew up hearing this a lot, white on the inside, black on the outside. It was like a pat on the head from my white friends. An initiation that was like, "Hey, congrats, you're the right amount of black that I like." "You're so white" is like the creamer to everyone's black coffee. You love the coffee, but you need the creamer to swallow it down. People love black culture, the music, the style, but it always seems more appealing and socially acceptable on a white person. Big lips and big noses on black people are commonly put down and made fun of, yet big lips right now seem to be in style. Think for a second how it feels to be made fun of for the features you were born with your entire life, then all of a sudden a white person has it and it's considered desirable. Internalization is more than just jokes. It's being taught to hate yourself and who you are. It's being taught that you are less and believing it. In the recent months, I've noticed a lot of controversy over this subject on outlets such as social media, Twitter, and all that. White people posing the question, "Why can't I wear dreads or braids? What's so wrong with that?" The difference between the two is that on black people it's seen as dirty or ghetto, but on white people it's urban and trendy. People look at those of us who are offended by these things and label us as overreacting. It's so easy to shrug off someone's feelings as invalid and unimportant when you haven't had to go through it, when you don't know what stereotyping is and what it feels like to be racially profiled. If a person of color is telling you that something is racist, and that goes for Asians, Indians, Pacific Islanders, any minority, you can't tell them that their experience is invalid in a society where they are not represented equally. We as humans in general have to learn to be more accepting and unlearn what society has taught to us is okay and just a joke. Of course, internalization isn't just racism. Misogyny, all the meninists out there? Well, it's running rampant. Sexism is a prejudice, stereotyping, or discrimination typically against women on the basis of sex. Misogyny is a dislike, contempt for, or ingrained prejudice against women. You might say, "Hey, well, I don't hate women," but your anti-women sentiments probably pose a different story. The thing about internalized sexism and misogyny is that it's not just men doing it. We as girls are raised to believe the same things the majority of boys are raised to believe. Girls are the lesser. Common phrases such as "you throw like a girl," "you act like a girl," "you cry like a girl," gives off the impression that there's something wrong with being a girl. The phrase "I'm not like other girls" is the perfect example of that. We grow up wanting to disconnect ourselves from those stereotypes so boys will like us. We throw our fellow females under the bus for the intention of man. I'll be the first to admit I've used that. I'm sure a lot of us have. But then I learned I am like other girls because we share this, and I love being like other girls. There's absolutely no right way to be a girl, and we shouldn't have to be shamed or shame ourselves for being who we are. Our generation just adores terms like thought, slut, or whore. We'll label any girl we see as one of these things before we even know her name. But boys, of course not. Society teaches boys that losing their virginity makes them a man, but the girl they slept with a slut in the exact same sentence. Society holds boys and girls to a completely different standard. I see boys walking around school with shirts with half-naked girls on them daily. They can wear those and not be dress-coded, but a girl with curves can't wear her body that she was born with without being questioned. From the moment we're born female, it's like we're born guilty of something. When a woman is raped, the question posed is always, well, what was she wearing? We teach our girls to watch their every move before we teach our boys not to rape, not to harass. If she says no, it means no and not convince me. These things are ingrained into us. We romanticize the misogyny and put it into Disney movies so we grow up believing that we need a male hero. We can't do things by ourselves. If he chases after you and you deny him, it's charming. It starts young and it stays. Internalized into a hatred so deep we begin to disconnect ourselves from who we are and who we want to be. When your society labels you as housewife or whore, it's hard to break free of those imaginary boundaries. Our realities don't have to be like this. As a people, it's our absolute duty to make ourselves aware of these hidden inequalities in our everyday speech that continue to hinder our growth as a society. We are capable of change, and we can, with enough effort, learn to unlearn our negative, internalized tendencies.